heavy rainfall exceeding 150 millimeters and strong winds in several parts of the country. Fishermen asked to refrain from setting out to sea. A woman killed after a tree collapsed due to strong winds. Fire aboard the New Diamond crude oil tanker completely doused. Will Basil enter Parliament? National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana Basil Rajapaksa commends in Badalgama. Consumer trade unions reveal a 21 billion rupee emergency power purchase. What is the connection between the emergency power purchase and the recent power outage? United National Party celebrates its 74th anniversary behind closed doors.
A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News. I am Arundhati Mudannaika. Let's take a look at the stories in detail now. Heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters and strong winds were reported in several parts of the island, affecting the lives of many. Let's cross over to Azrazan at the Newsfirst Weather Centre for the latest updates on the inclement weather.
Thank you, Arundhati. Now, many parts of the country experienced heavy rainfall and strong winds during the past few hours. According to the Met Department, this is the final stage of the southwest monsoon. The main reason behind the prevailing rainy weather condition in the country is the active cloudiness in the vicinity of Sri Lanka. Now, the Met Department says that the prevailing rainy weather condition will continue, however, will decline to a certain extent from tomorrow. Strong winds and heavy rainfall can be experienced from the western Sabaragamuwa, central and the southern districts, and also strong winds of up to 50 to 60 kilometers can be expected from these areas. If you take a look at the sea areas in the country, strong winds exceeding 70 kilometers can be expected, and rough seas will be experienced from Beruwala to Galle. The National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings to 5 districts, namely Colombo, Galle, Kalutara, Kegalle and Ratnapura. Now, while this is a weather forecast for the next few hours, what is the situation in Colombo? We have Senator Senanayake reporting from Colombo. We will now cross over to Senator Senanayake.
When the Newsfirst team toured around Colombo, we saw several trees collapsed in several parts of Colombo. So we would like to advise our viewers to take the necessary measures to minimize the damages caused by lightning activity and localized strong winds. I'm Senator Senanayake.
An uprooted tree fell onto a bus close to De Fonseca Road in Bambalapitia, completely disrupting the movement of traffic along Duplication Road. An uprooted tree fell in Braybrook Place, Colombo 2, disrupting the movement of traffic on Duplication Road. Heavy traffic was reported close to the Vihara Devi Park in Colombo after a tree collapsed. However, the uprooted tree was later moved. We are expecting heavy showers in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central, northwestern provinces and in the Mana, Mullaitivu, Galle and Matra districts. There is a high possibility that wind speeds will increase to about 80 km per hour. However, these winds will be temporary. Many accidents can take place during this period, especially due to thunder and falling trees.
Due to heavy showers reported in Badola and surrounding areas this afternoon, the Khandagedra Road in Haliala was inundated. Vehicular movement along the road was hampered for nearly 1 hour. Our correspondent said the water level is now receding in the area. A 59-year-old mother of 2 died this afternoon after a tree collapsed onto her due to the strong winds experienced in the Pahalavela area on the Bonavista Hills in Galle. Several areas in Galle are currently experiencing heavy rain. As a result, it was difficult for area residents and the police to reach the location of the accident. Meanwhile, strong winds were reported in several areas in Galle today. The seas were rough and fishermen refrained from setting out to sea. No fishing vessels set out to the sea from the Deundara harbour in Thotamuna harbour in Mathura. According to our correspondent, strong winds and heavy rains were experienced in Mathura and surrounding areas. Several shops at the Mathura weekly market were also damaged due to strong winds. Meanwhile, a large rock from the Koskalana area in Palindanura, Kaluthara had fallen onto the Molkava-Kilinkanda main road. According to our correspondents, 8 families were removed from their houses due to landslide threats. They are currently at the Koskalana Vihara on a temporary basis. A tree had fallen onto the Colombo-Negombo main road in the Bandaravata area this afternoon due to heavy rains, causing a traffic jam that continued for over 2 hours. Later, area residents had taken measures to remove the tree.
While this is the current situation of the country, Japan is also being battered by the inclement weather in their country. The Haishin typhoon has approached Japan, and more than 200,000 people have been asked to evacuate from their houses.
Typhoon Haishin is expected to intensify, bringing heavy rain, storms, surges and winds of more than 100 miles per hour. It will move past Kyushu and is expected to make landfall in South Korea tomorrow. It comes days after Typhoon Maysak, one of the strongest storms to hit the region in years. The latest typhoon has led to the closure of factories, schools and businesses across western Japan. Hundreds of flights and train services have also been cancelled. Japan's government will be holding an emergency cabinet meeting to address the storm. The country's weather agency said it was not likely to issue its more serious typhoon warning, but added that residents should exercise the more serious caution for possible record rains and high waves along the coast. Director of the agency's forecast division told that surging tides may also cause flooding in low-lying areas, particularly around river mouths. Typhoon Haishin has also forced Japan's Coast Guard to suspend its search for missing sailors from a cargo ship that sank during Typhoon Maysak. The Gulf Livestock One was carrying 43 crew members and 6,000 cows when it went missing on Wednesday.
Thank you, Asra, for bringing us that comprehensive report. Moving on to other local stories. The Consumer Rights Protection Organization made a revelation today of an attempt to use 21 billion rupees for emergency power purchasing.
The Consumer Rights Protection Organization today claimed that the Ceylon Electricity Board is attempting to purchase power at an exorbitant price of 21 billion rupees. The organization claimed that the CEB has already taken steps to award the tenders to Hong Kong and Dubai-based companies. They claim that it has been proposed to pay approximately 31 rupees per power unit.
The Ceylon Electricity Board is planning to purchase 128 megawatts of power on an emergency basis from 2 foreign entities, one based in Hong Kong and the other based in Dubai. This is illegal. There are certain engineers of the CEB supporting the power mafia. There are certain officials at the ministry supporting the mafia as well. Certain ambassadors are supporting the mafia, and as the minister said, there are certain politicians who are members of parliament supporting the mafia. The country will lose 21 billion rupees because of this. It seems that no matter what government comes into power, the power mafia will continue in the country. Although the report claims that it was the fault of the electrical superintendent in charge, it is now clear that the recent island-wide power failure was caused intentionally. The Public Utilities Commission is responsible in ensuring that consumers' rights are protected. They have been vested with the power to do so. So we urge them, do not permit this emergency power purchasing. Do not allow the country to lose 21 billion rupees and work towards eradicating the power mafia from our country.
Meanwhile, the National Movement for Consumer Rights Protection convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
There are certain factions who are trying to create a fake shortage of power in the country. Who is responsible for coordinating this plan on an operational level at the CEB? These plans are carried out at the operation level by several engineers at the CEB. So we urge the minister to look into this matter.
Emergency power purchasing is not a new experience for the Ceylon Electricity Board. Emergency purchases of 155 megawatts was made in 2016. In 2017, 180 megawatts were purchased. Emergency purchases of 320 megawatts was made in 2018. Although attempts were made to purchase 720 megawatts of electricity in 2019 as emergency purchases, the same amount was not purchased due to strong objection by the Public Utilities Commission.
Commander of the Sri Lanka Navy Vice Admiral Nishant Ulugethanna confirmed that the fire aboard the MT New Diamond crude oil tanker was completely doused by this afternoon. However, he said it cannot be assured the fire will not arise again considering the temperatures on the MT New Diamond.
By now, the fire has been completely doused. However, considering the temperatures on the MT New Diamond, there is a risk that the fire will rise again. However, we cannot be certain about that. The risk has to be minimized.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Air Force spokesperson Group Captain Dushan Vijay Singh has said approximately 1,000 kilograms of liquid fire extinguishers were used this morning.
Last evening, we deployed beach crafts of the Air Force to monitor the situation. We observed that although the fire was doused from the outside, the fire inside the ship still prevailed. Following discussions last evening, we reached a decision to use a fire extinguisher named dry chemical powder. We used a Bell 212 aircraft this morning to spray this chemical on the fire. We observed that this chemical helps douse the fire further.
සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම වගේ නිවි ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
Sri Lanka Navy spokesperson Captain Indika De Silva said 13 vessels are currently engaged in efforts to douse the fire. At the intervention of Porto Emporio Shipping Incorporation, the company which owns MT New Diamond, 10 British and Netherlands experts, including rescue operations specialists, disaster evaluators and legal consultants, will be arriving at the Mathura International Airport today.
The team will conduct a damage assessment on the present condition of the ship. They will be filing a report for insurance purposes as well. They will also assess whether it is suitable to transfer the oil in the MTD New Diamond to another vessel or direct the crude oil tanker to another port.
MT New Diamond is currently 40 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka. According to the Navy, the Indian tug Ocean Bliss also joined the fire dousing operations. Meanwhile, a drone belonging to the Indian Coast Guard commenced surveillance in the waters of the Mathura International Airport today. For the first time since the accident, Sri Lanka Navy will provide the opportunity to the 20 crew members who were rescued from the distressed vessel and now safely on board Sri Lanka Navy's Sindhurala to connect with their near and dear ones by telephone today. Meanwhile, New Shipping Limited, the commercial owner of New Diamond in Athens, Greece, has appointed SMIT Singapore Private Limited, an international Singapore-based company, as its salvage expert. According to the Navy, the company is currently sending equipment and experts in crude oil disaster management to MT New Diamond to commence the salvage operation.
Attorney General Dapula de Oliveira held a meeting with the stakeholders involved in battling the blaze aboard the distressed crude oil tanker, the MT New Diamond.
The Attorney General met with factions including Sri Lanka Navy, Sri Lanka Ports Authority and Marine Environment Protection Authority.
The discussion was based on how much other organizations have spent on dousing the fire. Discussions were also held on how to recover the money and on the current situation of the fire.
We discussed with the Attorney General about what measures and legal action to be taken in this regard.
A team of scientists will reach this place. We have paid special attention on obtaining information about how this has affected the marine life and the sea in general. We are also hoping to go there with a team from NARA and other organizations.
ලංකාවේ සමුද්‍ර විද්‍යාඥයන් කණ්ඩායමක් හදාගෙන හෙට උදේ හෝ එතන යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
During the meeting, the Attorney General had advised the heads of the respective institutions regarding several matters. The stakeholders were advised to coordinate and prepare an estimate of the cost incurred by and the loss caused to the government of Sri Lanka. They were advised to visit the site of the distressed MT New Diamond and conduct an investigation to ascertain if any damage was caused to the marine environment as a result of the blaze. The Attorney General had also advised to prepare an estimate on an environmental damage in the event of an oil spill does take place and to prepare necessary disaster management protocols.
On to another one of our headline-making stories. Journalists question the national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Perumuna, Basil Rajapaksa, whether he intends to enter parliament in the future.
We have never favoured the 19th Amendment. It didn't even use my vote. Our MPs didn't use their votes either. Many voted with the promise that the 20th will be brought forward. Yes, the president granted him more power. If there is executive presidency, the president should be given more powers. That is what the people expect.
Basil Rajapaksa made these remarks while engaging in an inspection tour at a rubber manufacturing factory in Badalgama, Kotudeniyawa. The main objective of this visit was to obtain rubber-based products for local use.
The 74th anniversary of the United National Party was celebrated at Silikota today.
The event was attended by several factions including party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe. The media was not invited to cover the event. The event was attended by several party supporters as well.
සංවසරේ නෑ 70 මට හරියට නෑ සංවසරේ 76 ඔව් මතක නෑ ඇත්තටම මතක නෑ අපිට අපි පක්ෂය ගොඩනගා මේ සංවසරේ ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන හිටියේ නැහැ.
Following the event, several former UNP MPs expressed their views to the media.
සංවත්සරේ සැමරුම කොහොමද? මම හිතන්නේ අපි ආගමික වතාවත් වලට මුල් තැන දීලා පක්ෂයේ සැමරීම සිදු කළා. එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ සංවත්සරේ මාධ්‍යට ආවරණය කරන්න දෙන්නේ පළවෙනි අවස්ථාවයි මේ. නෑ මම හිතන්නේ එහෙම දෙයක් සිදු වුණා කියලා. කාවද යෝජනා වෙලා තියෙන නායකත්වයට දැන් රුවන් විජේවර්ධන මැතිතුමාට දෙන්න එපයි කියලා සමහර කට්ටිය කියනවා. පක්ෂයක් හැටියට තක්සේරුවක් කළා ඒ ගැන කටයුතු කළ යුතුව තිබෙනවා. රුවන් විජේවර්ධන මහත්තයාට එතකොට දැන් දෙන්න සූදානමක් තියෙනවද තරුණ නායකයෙක්? මම එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය වෙනුවෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ. එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ ආරක්ෂාව සඳහා
At present, Ranil Wickremesinghe is the most talented person from the UNP to enter parliament. Although he is not keen to enter parliament, he is the most knowledgeable in terms of the laws and new constitutional amendments. He was reluctant to join until now, and we were against him doing so as well. However, at present, we feel that he is the most qualified of the 225 members of parliament to speak about the 20th Amendment. He can inform the public about the pros and cons of the new amendment.
හොඳ නරක දෙපැත්තම රටට දැනුවත් කිරීම සහ ආණ්ඩුවට දැනුවත් කිරීම මම හිතන්නේ එතුමා ගියොත් හොඳයි කියන්නේ. ජාතික නායකතු මන්ත්‍රීවරු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා ඉදිරිපත් වෙන එක අනිවාර්යයි. තාම නෑ. එතුමා තාම ඒකට කැමැත්තක් කරන්නේ නෑ. මේක මම හිතන අපෙන් එන යෝජනාව. සංවත්සරයේ දවසකට ඔබතුමාලට හිතෙන්නේ නැද්ද මේකට මේ තරුණ නායකයෙක් ඕනේ කියලා? තරුණම කියලා ඕනේ නෑනේ.
You do not necessarily need a young leader. Is the president young? Is the prime minister young? Are the leaders of the SLPP young? So do not think like that. A leader does not necessarily have to be young. There are captains and leaders. Captains lead a team, but the leaders are the ones who win.
leaders ලා තමයි දිනන්නේ.
මාධ්‍ය විවෘත නොකරන්නයි ප්‍රධාන හේතුවක් තිබ්බද?
නෑ ඒක ගැන මම කොහොමද දන්නේ? ඒක මම හිතන්නේ මහලේකම්තුමාගෙන් අහන්න වෙනවා. ඒක ගැන මම දන්නේ නෑ අතරම.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා සූදානම්ද ඔබතුමාට නායකත්වය බාර දෙන්න?
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා කියලා තියෙනවා දැන් අලුත් තරුණ නායකත්වයක් එන්න අවශ්‍යයි කියලා. මම හිතනවා මේ සතියේ යම් කිසි තීරණයක් ගන්නයි කියලා.
ඔබතුමා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම සූදානම් නායකත්වය බාර ගන්න?
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම සූදානම් නායකත්වය බාර ගන්න.
දැන් ඔබතුමා නායකත්වයට සූදානම් නම් ඔබතුමා නෙමෙයිද ජාතික ලැයිස්තුවෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ආයුත්තේ?
නෑ මං ඉස්සෙල්ලින්දම කිව්වා
No, as I mentioned before, I will enter parliament through the national list. If I am to enter parliament, I want to be elected to parliament with the votes of my people.
යන්න මං බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
Views were expressed at several meetings about the anniversary of the United National Party.
අද විශේෂයෙන්ම එක්සත් ජාතික
Today is the 74th anniversary of the United National Party and it was celebrated at Sirikota. We can see that they have done it secretly as there was no publicity and the media was not invited to it. The United National Party is the most decorated party in this country. It is the party that took the forefront in gaining independence to the country and it is the party that gave birth to the first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. All UNP Large-scale deforestation is one of the leading environmental problems in Sri Lanka. According to environmentalists, approximately 8,000 hectares of forest land in Sri Lanka is destroyed every year. Authorities who label the utilization of forest land for cultivation by rural communities as environmental damage turn a blind eye to the large-scale activities that cause severe damage to the environment. A few years ago, plans were placed to increase Sri Lanka's current forest cover of 29.7% to 32% by the year 2022. In addition of 44 hectares of land to the wildlife system in Sri Lanka to restore areas that were subject to soil erosion was also part of this plan. However, such plans are not sufficient as a maximum of 65,000 hectares of land is required to increase Sri Lanka's forest cover by 1%. Environmentalists point out that if sufficient laws were in place, deforestation in Sri Lanka that devastates approximately 8,000 hectares of forest land every year could have been reduced by 36%.
We apologize for the technical difficulty that we experienced a short while ago, and what you just witnessed was our special segment, The Green Minute, and we would like to go back to some of the views expressed by former UNPers about the 74th anniversary of the United National Party.
Views were expressed at several meetings about the anniversary of the United National Party.
අද විශේෂයෙන්ම එක්සත් ජාතික
Today is the 74th anniversary of the United National Party and it was celebrated at Sirikota. We can see that they have done it secretly as there was no publicity and the media was not invited to it. The United National Party is the most decorated party in this country. It is the party that took the forefront in gaining independence to the country and it is the party that gave birth to the first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. All UNP supporters of the country are greatly saddened by the current state of the party. It is because of the wrong decisions of the top position holding members of the party that the UNP is in such a sad state today. They should be held responsible for this. This is a very sad state of affairs. It is at a moment when the value of the party is slowly deteriorating that the 74th anniversary is celebrated. It looks like that none of the high-ranking leaders of the party have any desire to revive the party and take it forward. As the party that we all once belonged to, we too feel sad about the situation.
මෙවැනි තත්ත්වයක් මේ පක්ෂයට උදා වීම ගැන.
අපේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය සංවත්සරය නෙමෙයි. දැන් සමරන්න වෙලා තියෙන එක්සත්
The UNP has to celebrate its end, not its anniversary. Many UNPs such as Arjuna Ranatunga, Akila Viraj Kariwasam and Daya Gamage come forward to talk about Ranil Wickremesinghe and his suitability to enter parliament through the national list. The UNP should celebrate its anniversary in Ranil Wickremesinghe's living room. In my view, this is not an anniversary celebration. This is an indirect attempt of Ranil Wickremesinghe to enter the parliament through the national list. The people of this country are aware of such games. It is disappointing to see someone like Arjuna Ranatunga, who is a respected figure in society, falling victim to a situation like this. Ranil Wickremesinghe is not a politician suitable for this country. Ranil Wickremesinghe entering parliament again means the political deals that took place in 2015 will repeat itself.
Gamat, the teams touring in rural Sri Lanka, inquired into the issues faced by the people for the 9th consecutive day today. Our teams visited Anuradhapura, Mana and Gaul districts.
Game River has a huge impact on the lives of the people living in Baddigama. The area gets flooded when the water level of the river rises. If the water level reduces, the villagers are affected by the drought. However, The issue we identified in Swarnapura, Badigama is different. The farmers are unable to distribute the water from the Ging River to the cultivations due to the absence of a canal. The people also do not have access to clean drinking water. Their only request is to find a solution to the water issue in their village. A decade ago, 180 families sought shelter from Navabarilla area in Badigama. For the past 10 years, the people have not had access to clean drinking water. A tank was built in the area in 2017 under the Gingangula Water Project. However, public health inspectors have advised the villagers against consuming this water. Even after 10 years, people are left with no water to engage in their day-to-day activities. Moondrampiti area in Malnday Manor is a fisheries village. 350 of the 4,000 families engaged in fishing, and they face two main issues. One is sea erosion. The other issue is that the waves reach the houses located close to the sea. The people living in the area also lack a lighthouse engaged in their main livelihood. At a time the technology in the country is advanced, people living here do not have strong cellular signals to communicate with one another.
මේ කාලේ ඉඳලා මැරිලා මේ ළමයිගේ ජීවිතේ අන්න ඒ ගැන කියලා තමයි මම මේක ඉල්ලන්නේ වගේ. ඔයාලට ගොඩාක් පිංයි කියනවා. මට කියන්න කියන්නේ මට දුකයි.
Katugampala is 5 kilometers away from Galpotha and Radhapura. Those who engage in cultivation are facing difficulties due to lack of water. They walk for 3 kilometers to purchase water to quench their thirst. Although they have made numerous requests from the authorities, a solution has not yet been given. The villagers of Vihiragala in Anuradhapura are urging the protection of the ruins of an ancient temple believed to have been constructed during the rule of King Valagamba. They claim that the ruins of the ancient temple are being destroyed by treasure hunters in a bid to excavate treasure that is said to have been deposited under its ruins. As the ruins lie in uncertainty, not knowing when it could be destroyed by treasure hunters, villagers say that officials have constantly turned a blind eye towards this piece of history.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka, together with our interpreter this evening, Taraka Gabriel. Good night.